everyone. We are here at the NAACP Centennial Gala having a fabulous time. And I saw this young man sitting here on the sofa, and I thought I had to come over and meet him, and I think you should too. Why don't you introduce yourself to our audience? What's your name, and what's your affiliation with the NAACP?
Well, my name is Louis Alisa. I'm a resident of Roxbury, and I'm the former president of the Boston branch, and I'm a life member of the NAACP.
And can I tell you, earlier today we were just talking about him, so it is an absolute honor for us to have the opportunity to meet you. So are you going to be around a little bit later this evening?
I plan to. I heard that you young people know how to party, but I'm from the old school, and I want to see if you can party better than us.
All right, well, you know what? We might be able to. I might have to get a dance later, okay? All right. Is it? Okay, we can do that. But see, here at the NAACP, we are also, like I said, we're serious about our politics, our issues, the things that we do in the community, but we also know how to have a good time. Thank you so much, former President.
Thank you so much for supporting us, because the best is yet to come.
And we have one of our award recipients on tonight. Why don't we have him introduce himself?
I'm the Maestro Zoom. My awards for the NAACP 2011 Image Awards, my awards for leadership through the arts.
Excellent. Could you tell us just briefly a little bit about what does that mean, leadership through the arts? What is your specialty?
Well, I'm primarily a producer, but I'm also a rapper, and so me and the beautiful young lady next to me, the Dawnstress, my wife, came together and did a song called American Dream, which inspires everyone from the youngest to the oldest. And
who came up with the concept of American Dream?
Well, I wrote it, but she did the most justice on it.
What does that mean? The missus did the most justice? What does that mean?
That means I sung my heart out.
Wow, nice. I love the duo. How long have you all been doing music together?
2 years.
2 years. How's it going so far? I know, it speaks for itself. This is a beautiful award and a beautiful couple. I mean, just look at this image. This right here is a representation of the NAACP. You know, I mean, it's just beautiful. A dynamic young couple. We have a lot of young people up and coming in the NAACP. We appreciate the work that you're doing. Thank you so much again for joining us at the NAACP Centennial Gala. We appreciate it. Thank you. And I would be remiss if I did not introduce you to this young man, okay, who is just amazing. Okay, amazing. Why don't you introduce yourself? Let the audience hear from you. Tell them your name and, you know, a little bit about yourself.
Well, my name is Coach Willie May. A lot of you may know me as one of the pioneer broadcasters here. Started way back about 30 years ago, and now I'm just doing TV, having fun, self-music, and just enjoying life.
Yes, you are, and I'm a fan. So, I mean, truly, I've been following you online and in books and in the media, so it's really a privilege for me to have the opportunity to meet you. So what brought you out to support the NAACP tonight?
Well, I mean, I've been supporting them for a long, long time. From my days when I first got in radio at WCAS, when Joe Feaster was heading up things in Leonard Alkins, and now my good friend Michael Curry. And they all know I'm just a phone call away. If they need me, just call. I'm there to do whatever it is. If I got to host something, if they just need my support, and that's what it's about. We have to look out for each other.
Excellent. And so, you know, since you are very vast in the area of athletics and sports, and our mission is to empower and educate young people, just wanted to know if you had any words of advice, whether it's leadership advice or students that are interested in athletics as a career, anything that you can offer to the young people.
Well, what I tell anybody, any attribute that they're trying to do, A, get your education, work hard, and be humble, and you got to sacrifice and learn everything. I mean, how to be in front of the microphone and back of the microphone, in front of the camera, behind the camera. The more you know, the more valuable you're gonna be.
Okay. Excellent advice from the coach. So we all need to take heed and listen. Thank you so much for your time this evening. We appreciate it.
My pleasure. Hi, this is Coach Willie May, And yes, check it out anytime, every time, like I do. Hip Hop Real Estate.
Standing next to a distinguished gentleman and superstar, I may add, in Boston. But why don't we have him introduce himself? Please tell us your name and your role with the NAACP, why you're here, and tell people what you do for the city. I think they should definitely know about that.
My name is Ron Bell. I'm senior advisor for Governor Deval Patrick, the first African-American male in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts and the second African-American male to become governor in the United States. So I'm really happy to be here at the 100th anniversary of the NAACP. I actually, right now, I actually was the former political chair of NEAC, New England Area Conference, and also political chair of Cambridge. So I have history with the NAACP. Back in 2000, remember the Florida non-recount, Chad's dimpled, unreliable polls? We were able to do something very outstanding in Massachusetts. There was a 20-year decline in the year 2000 as far as voter turnout. We said we were going to increase it by 5%, but we increased it by 20%. And my alarm is going off, so we're really excited here. I'm so glad to be here with you. You are so beautiful, and we are just so excited. It's good to see new leadership, young leadership, and black leadership.
Yes.
And so we're excited about being here and talking, and ooh, look at you. Hey, I kiss to you too. And,
See, now this is what we're talking about, everyone. Okay, Ron Bell, always multitasking, even during an interview. That's probably the governor on the phone. But we'd like to say thank you so much, for speaking with us in this short amount of time. We've learned so much, and we welcome you. We hope that you just continue to be a part of the NAACP.
It's Carrier Hip Hop Real Estate. It's about to go down, as you can see, with the 100-year anniversary. Man, it was a good look, man. It was amazing event.
Thank you. Yeah, it's special. You know, very few organizations make it to 100 years, especially organizations that have no paid staff. So to have the Boston branch be in existence since 1911 is something we should all celebrate.
So what do you think about all the participants that even came out? You had a chairman come out, you had the senators come out, you had a lot of people that was in the building. How do you feel about that? You know, the 100th anniversary, nobody should have missed that.
Yeah, it's real. The thing that we got is we got sincerity. We want to really make this movement strong in Boston. So that carries. So Senator Kerry, Congressman Clyburn, our chairman of the NAACP board, Rosalind Brock, they see it. They see that there's change happening in Boston, that we're serious about this work. Civil rights still exists. We still have struggle. Housing, education, healthcare, you name it, black people, people of color are still struggling, and they need the NAACP. So it was just a matter of making a phone call, and people showed up.
Now, how can we get more people involved in their own backyard, in their own city, the more youth involved in the NAACP?
Well, part of it is we got to make the connection as to why they got to be involved. If you get stopped by the police and you get harassed, you need the NAACP. If you walk up to a door of a club and they look at your clothes and say, hey, we don't want you in this club. But they don't say we don't want you in this club because you're black, but we don't want you in this club because you look like a thug. Then you need the NAACP. If you're dying from cancer, diabetes, heart disease, disparately at a higher rate than white people, then you need the NAACP. If you feel like there's not enough investment in your community, then you need the NAACP. I could go on and on, but our job is to walk up to every person, every individual, and make that connection and say, yo, when you go to prisons, do you see way too many people that look like us? If you do drugs and crime in Roxbury, Dorset, and Mattapan, you got a Corey. But if you do drugs and crime in Newton, Wellesley, and other places, you're going to be doctors and lawyers. You made a mistake, you got over it, and thank God you were able to get past that. Our community, way too many people that look like us end up in jail. And what does that do? That locks them out of employment. That messes up generations of families. They can no longer build wealth, leave it to their children, and that's the kind of work we should be doing. If we say that one by one on street corners and meetings and institutions, I feel very strongly that we'll make the case for why we need to be around, and we'll get more members.
Do you think we need some more involvement into the streets?
Okay, so I think one of the things I try to do when I talk to people is flip the script about what we need to focus on. It's not just about kids. It's about the family, it's about the household. And a lot of these, contrary to opinion, a lot of these knuckleheads walking around shooting guns ain't 15. They're not 17. A lot of them are our age, right? They've been in this street game a long time, and some of them might even be family. So part of what we're trying to do is launch a movement around changing culture in our community. We're starting a campaign called Speak Truth to Violence, and we'll launch it very soon. And we need you to be a part of that. First phase of the campaign, let's talk about what we own, what we do that we need to change. You driving in the car and you driving and you got your 5-year-old in the back and you playing the grimiest hip hop that you have in the tape deck or the CD. Why are you surprised that they're sexual or angry or violent, right? That's stuff we own that we could change, right? If you're accepting the behavior in your household, arguing in front of your kids, fighting in front of your kids, talking, how often, just stand in Dudley and hear the parents call their kids little B's and little N's. Not all, but the ones who do. That says something very serious about what we have in our community and culture, bad culture, that we need to turn around and change. So that's phase one. That means all of us coming together, signing off on certain principles of how we'll live our lives. Phase two, policy. It ain't all our fault. The drugs, the guns, right? The joblessness, that stuff ain't our fault. Some of it is, but all of it's not. Some of it's about policy, some of it's about generational racism. If your father couldn't get a job because he was black, or your grandfather couldn't get a job because he was black, what impact did that have on your opportunities? And for every good brother, I shouldn't even say that, let me change that. For every brother that's doing the right things and overcame his obstacles, there's a whole bunch of them that didn't have that opportunity, right? Whole bunch of them that got caught up because their mother was a crack addict. Whole bunch of them that couldn't get a job because they didn't look right, right? So we got a whole bunch of issues, some ours, some societal. We got to weed through all of that and figure out what we can do about it. I'm about pulling cats from the street. My nephews, my cousins from the Point, my sisters are from the Point. I grew up in Lenox, family all across this country that's involved in the street. So I'm about pulling street cats to the table, right? I want to know that you were out there in the street selling drugs, doing crime, and that you can speak to the average cat on the street and say, yo, I did that. You know what? And here's what it got me. And I want to turn my life around. I think you should turn your life around. From growing up in the hood, the most persuasive cats in the neighborhood was the thug dudes. If you can win them over, you can change the community, right? Because they'll get the knuckleheads and be like, yo, stop that. But the problem is, most of the activists and organizers don't want to speak to them. But we come from a generation where we grew up in that. I grew up in Lenox, moved to Quincy Street. I was in the middle of Castlegate, Savin Hill, not Castlegate, Humboldt, Lawrence Ave,
Orchard Park,
Wood, OP. When you in the middle of all that, you got an appreciation for how smart some of these cats are. Some of these dudes are entrepreneurs, are excellent, good people who get caught up in bad circumstances. So I'm about trying to change that. Now, I can't do it by myself. The organization can't do it by itself. It's about getting a whole critical mass of us together finally to say, yo, let's get down and do something.
Create more leaders, you think?
Yeah, I think it's about leaders. In the 60s, I always say this, the back of the bus propelled us to the front of the movement. We don't know where we at now on the bus, right? We can conveniently, happily in the back of the bus, and we don't understand what our struggle is. We don't understand healthcare and education, that we're not getting the same quality education as other kids in Newton and Wellesley and all across this state. If we understood it, we'd do something about it. We accept, great example, because you do events too, right? We accept this thing where we walk up to clubs, we get treated like crap. In fact, that's a violation of the law. That's a public accommodation violation. Let's do something about that. That's the change I'm talking about. And I don't know if we can, I can only say, yo, we got a pebble going down the hill. We need more pebbles. We need to create a movement, and we need as many people as possible. I'll end on this note. African proverb. The proverb said, rivers are filled one drop at a time. That's what this is all about.
You got the president of the NAACP in the building, getting you real talk and a real situation. We need to make that change and change mindsets.
Thank you. It's real. We're about to do that. You are listening to and watching my family, my people from Hip Hop Real Estate. Stay tuned, keep it locked. Boston NAACP in the house, and we're glad to be here talking to you. Peace.